Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Organisms and Population, and today in this video we will cover part 5. Now let's begin with the first question, which was asked in the year 2002. In a population, unrestricted reproductive capacity is called as dash. So you have four options here: biotic potential, fertility, carrying capacity, and birth rate. So what do you think would be the answer here? What do you mean by unrestricted reproductive capacity? So that goes to biotic potential. So what is this biotic potential? Basically, it is an unrestricted growth of the population resulting in the maximum growth. So what does it lead to? Maximum growth of the population. Biotic potential is the highest possible vital index of a species. Therefore, whenever the species has its highest birth rate, the lowest is the mortality rate. So which one is the unrestricted reproductive capacity? It is called as biotic potential. Carrying capacity refers to the maximum number of individuals that can be sustained by the environment. While if you take the birth rate, it refers to the number of birth per unit population. But it is very important that you understand what is biotic potential. What is it actually? It is the highest possible vital index of the species. So if the species has the highest birth rate, lower will be the mortality rate. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option A. Okay, next question here. Choose the correct sequence of the stages. Choose the correct sequence of the stages of a growth curve of a bacteria. Very easy question. So if you see the correct sequence, it will start with the lag phase where the organism has just started to grow. Okay, not grow actually, just started its work. It's being active at that phase, but you will not see any growth there. The next phase will be the log phase, where you can see a little growth in it. Next will be the, so what do you mean by the log phase? I said you will see the growth. The growth will be steady actually. Next you move to the stationary phase, where there will not be any growth. The growth will come to an end and it will stop. Okay, you will not find any reduction or growth. But next will be the decline phase, where the organism will start to die. So this is how the growth curve goes. So we start with lag, log phase is also called as exponential phase, a steady growth phase. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option A. Okay, so log phase is where it's the phase where you see accelerated growth, while if you see the stationary phase, the growth becomes stable and you will neither find growth nor decline or reduction or decrease, whatever you can call it as. Therefore the right answer is option A. Next question here. The semi-log of per minute growing bacteria is plotted against time. What will be the shape of the graph? Okay, this is a direct question here. Okay, but you need to do a little logic here. The semi-log per minute growing bacteria is plotted against time, which is t. What will be the shape of it? It will be an ascending straight line. Okay, it would yield a ascending straight line. Okay, ascending is going from the lower to the higher, while descending is from higher to lower. So it's moving from lower to higher phase. Next question here. Which of the following is a correct pair? You need to analyze the options now. Cascata is a parasite. Ischidia is an insectivorous plant. Puntia, or you can say Opuntia, which is a predator. Capsula is a hydrophyte. So the one which is correctly paired here is actually A. Cascata is a parasite, that is right. While if you take Optina is not a predator, it's actually a xerophyte. Okay, and Capsula is not a hydrophyte, while Distia is also not an insectivorous plant. Therefore the right answer goes to option A, Cascata. So you have any idea what is this actually? So you've got a clue, it is a parasite. But what is the other thing that you can talk about this? What is this actually? This is actually a parasitic plant formerly treated as the only genus in the family Cascatae, is now accepted as belonging to the morning glory family. Okay, So what is that unique about this is it's also called as daughter plant. What is it called as? Daughter plant. Okay, now let's move to the next question here. Choose the correct match. So again, you have to analyze the options given here. So look at the options here. You need to match, you need to take the correct match. Trapa, Diné, Drosera. Okay, that's wrong. Nephthenes, Utricularia, Vanda, again wrong. Utricularia, Drosera, and Doina. That is right because all three are the insectivorous plants. Okay, if you take Utricularia, Drosera, and Doina, they are all insectivorous plants. What do you mean by insectivorous plants? Are they autotrophic or heterotrophic? They are heterotrophic. What do you mean by that? They are dependent upon another source for their food. They do not follow any photosynthesis or chlorophyll method, but they eat on or they survive on insects. So they will have some attraction over them so that the bees or the insects come attracted and seat on their surface. So once it is seated on the surface, there will be a sensor where the plant is blessed with. Once it identifies there is some prey on it, it will again capture it. Therefore, these are all insectivorous plants. Therefore, option C is the right answer. Next question here. Which type of association is found between the entomophyllous flower and the pollinating agent? What do you mean by entomophyllous? Have you ever heard about it? It is called as entomophyllous. Right. Now, these flowers are also called as insect pollination, is a form of pollination whereby the pollen of the plants, especially but not only the flowering plants, they undergo what? They are usually bright colored and scented and often secrete a nectar. So this pollination of the flower in which the pollen is carried by the insect. Okay. Is carried by insect. Okay, because you should know what is entomophyllous. It's a pollination of the flower in which the pollen is carried by the insect. There are structural differences between flowers to ensure that cross-pollination occurs. So what is the association between them? If you see, it is mutualism. Okay, they don't affect each other, but they see to that they live in mutualistic understanding so that they both are benefited. Okay. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option A. But here they have mentioned where one is benefited while the other is unaffected. In commensalism, in mutualism, both will be beneficial. That's what I said now, right? So commensalism, one will be benefited, one will be unaffected. It will not be benefited nor it will be harmed. Okay? Fine. Next question here. Exponential growth of cells is a characteristic feature of dash. Very easy question. When do you see growth? When it is growing. Embryo, it is in not there. Usually we do an exponential growth of cells for tissue culture cells. Okay, therefore the right answer is option A. Multicellular, unicellular embryos, you're talking in general terms. But when we talk exclusively for exponential growth, you have to go specific. Because we're just not talking about the growth curve, but you're talking a part of the growth curve. So this goes well for the tissue culture cells, which is option A. Okay? Fine. Next question here. A pair of insectivorous plants. So this is a very easy question for you where you need to identify the best one. The right answer is option B. It's actually Eptins and bladderwort. Insectivorous plants supplement the supply of nitrogenous food by capturing and digesting insects. So one good example is the pitcher plant, which you have seen. It will be in the form of pot, some jug-like appearance. It will be like this only, a pitcher plant. Okay, and it will be very attractive because of the color and everything. So you have the right pair is option B. Okay, so Nephthenes and bladderwort is also called as Utricularia. They both are insectivorous plants. Okay, and these plants are heterotrophic in nature. Next question here. What is the next question here? In increasing order of organizational complexity, Which one of the following is the correct sequence? Very easy question. You don't need a proper explanation for this, but just looking at the options, I'm sure you'll be able to say. They're asking us in the increasing order. So first will come population, then will come species, then will come community, and then will come the ecosystem. Therefore, the increasing order is population, species, community, and ecosystem. Okay, so this you don't have to have much explanation because the question is very clearly mentioning it is an increasing order. So you will start from the highest. So we are starting with population and we are ending with ecosystem. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option A. Next question here. What is the most important factor for the success of animal population? This question was asked in the year 1997. Now let's discuss each option here. We have natality, unlimited food. Obviously it is not unlimited food, because if there is unlimited food, I'm sure there'll be more growth and all that. All that is fine. But the major thing that an animal requires is adaptability. Natality refers to the rate at which new individuals are born, while adaptability refers to the capacity of an organism. So it is actually the capacity or the ability of the organism to survive or to adapt itself to certain conditions or circumstances, which will thereby help in the survival of the organism. Natality refers to the newborn. Only when the animals adapt themselves, they will have the growth. Okay, so the basic requirement is adaptability. Unlimited food, to some extent, it will not be the same throughout, right? Because conditions might be favorable, some conditions can be unfavorable also. So unlimited food and all cannot be considered as a category. So the best thing or the important factor for the success of this animal population is adaptability. Okay, C is the right answer. Next question here. The present population of the world is about dash. So now I'm going to give you, it's a direct question, you don't have to have much explanation for this. The right answer is option C, 6 billion. It has actually crossed 6 billion in the year 1999. So imagine what will be the count now. Fine. Next question here. Human population growth in India, and this question was asked in the year 1996. We have to analyze option by option. It tends to follow a sigmoid curve, wrong. It tends to reach a zero population growth, as in case of animal species, wrong. Can be reduced by permitting natural calamities and enforcing birth control measures. Again, that is something that you cannot interfere with the person's freedom. We can only insist saying that do this, do that, and advice can be given. But enforcing something, especially when it comes to the birth factor, it is not possible. So option C is also not the answer. It can be regulated by following a national program of family planning. This is acceptable because, as I said, you can't force someone to have a birth control measure, because the government can take measures insisting them, telling them the effects of the population, overpopulation. They can explain the controversies, they can explain the disadvantages of having big families when the situation is quite abnormal. So what the government can do is, instead of enforcing something, they can bring in some schemes, or they can bring in some effective methods where the people can utilize them and be benefited. So this one is the best option actually. Option D is the right answer. It can be regulated by following a national program of family planning. The hospitals where you go for a second baby or the first baby, especially second baby, the doctors themselves will insist you. They will ask you, are you willing to do a family planning? So they will tell you the pros and cons about it. So you'll have an idea of how to go about it. So the right answer is option D. Next question here. The concept that population tends to increase geometrically while food supply increases arithmetically was put forward by. So this is again a direct question. I will tell you who proposed that. It was actually proposed by Thomas Malthus. So who is this? If you see, he put the theory for human population growth, and that was in the year 1778. Okay, he told that the population grow in geometrical progression, and what happens when the population grows? The food supply, there will be a demand for food, right? So all this was clearly put by Thomas Malthus in the year 1778 itself. See how much he can analyze about the future and talk. Fine. Next question here. In India, human population is heavily weighed towards the younger age groups as a result of dash. Okay, we have to analyze the options here, but the right answer to this question is option C. Short lifespan of many individuals and high birth rate. So the question clearly asks us that the human population is heavily weighed towards the younger age groups as a result. So when there is a short lifespan of individuals, but at the same time you also have high birth rate, so there's some balance in it. Even if the span of the life is short, since there is a good birth rate, they are somehow compensating it. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option C. Okay, so with this we complete the part 5 of Organisms and Population. Hope to meet you in the last part of the next chapter. Okay, thank you.